great mentors have this incredible ability to see ourselves, to help us see ourselves differently, right? To see our potential in ways that we don't recognize yet. And so, at the heart of it, I think a good mentor is someone who's committed to your growth. They bring their relevant experience, they're good communicators, and they know how to listen. I think being patient and trustworthy and really confidential are some key components to that mentor recipe. And I think a lot of it is about trust and respect and just a shared commitment to development. And they can be very powerful relationships that last a lifetime.
Welcome. You're listening to This Leader, the podcast. If you lead people and are seeking the transformational, high-impact secrets that will lead to greater joy and fulfillment in your work, will optimize your team performance, and will help you create a happy, highly productive workplace, then you are this leader and you're in the right place. I'm your host, Claire Laughlin, and each week my guests and I will explore the mindsets, techniques, and actionable strategies that will help you build the career, team, and organization of your dreams. Because I believe no one should have to suffer in a dysfunctional workplace. Let's get started. Hello, leaders. Today, I am excited to share a conversation that I'm having with two very influential people that I have the pleasure of working with from the City of Elk Grove. I'll be talking to Kara Reddig and Femi Omotesho about the mentoring program that they have so successfully built in their city. And I came to know Kara and Femi because they reached out to me through a mutual connection where I was already working on a mentoring program, and they saw that I'm a consultant with MRG, which is headquartered in Elk Grove. And then they reached out to talk with me about developing a mentoring program in their city. And I had the pleasure of working with them in the early stages. That was way back in 2019. And I'm pleased to say that their mentoring program is going strong. And we're just about to wrap up our fourth year of the program. They've got lots of great information to share about mentoring in general. Even if you're not thinking about starting a mentoring program, we'll just talk about how to be a great mentor and what to look for in a mentoring relationship. And we'll even get into some specific details about their program and how they've made it so successful. So I'm really excited for the conversation that we'll have. And let me tell you just a little bit more about my guests. Kara Reddig is currently the City of Elk Grove's Deputy City Manager and also serves as a member of the city's executive leadership team. She's responsible for the city's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and also oversees the divisions of public affairs and communications, risk, community engagement, and District 56. She has the unique experience of having risen through the ranks in Elk Grove over the past 22 years. She's held the titles of Management Analyst, Assistant to the City Manager, Interim Transit Manager, and most recently, Deputy City Manager from July of 2014. And she's participated in several professional organizations, including MMANC, which is the Municipal Management Association of Northern California, and the ICMA, which is International City County Management Association, Women Leading Government, and she recently attended the Yale School of Management Executive Education Women's Leadership Program in 2025. So lots of good stuff going on. She was raised in Arizona, and she holds a master's in public administration and a Bachelor of Science from Arizona State University. That's Kara, and let me tell you about Femi. Femi also calls the City of Elk Grove home. She is currently serving as a management analyst in the city manager's office, though she's served in many roles in the city since 2010, including first being an ambassador and then a volunteer in police service, and since 2019, a valued staff member. Femi's academic background includes having a PhD in information assurance and security, 2 master's degrees, and a Bachelor of Science in statistics, and numerous professional certifications. Femi moved from Nigeria to the United States in 2007, eventually landing in Elk Grove and raising her three wonderful children, a son and twin daughters, as a single parent there. She truly loves Elk Grove, and she found there a very supportive community and a very fulfilling life. Femi's a person of deep faith with a passion for reading and an impressive talent for Sudoku. She's actually a champion, which is awesome. And above all else, Femi cherishes life and feels immense gratitude for the gift of existence. She's such a lovely, bright light. Her practice of counting blessings fuels her resilience through life's ups and downs. So, those are our guests today. Can't wait to share my conversation. Let's get started. Welcome, Kara and Femi. So glad to have you both here and to have a great discussion with you about mentoring. I know so many of my clients and listeners, they've experienced great mentors in their lives, or they wish they'd had a better mentor, and some even want to design programs, but kind of have this thought that it's either too complicated or where do I start or something like that. So I'm very excited to have you both here with me to talk through your very successful mentoring program in year 4 already, just ready to wrap up year 4. And you've had so many great mentors and mentees come through. So can't wait to share all your experiences. Thank you so much for being here. So we'll just go back and forth and just jump in as you want. You both have so much experience with this. So just shout out and let's jump in. I'm going to start with this question about why did you guys think to start this program? What prompted you and why was it important for the City of Elk Grove to create this mentoring thing? What were you hoping for when you got this started?
Yeah, well, thanks, Claire, for having us. At the City of Elk Grove, training and developing our staff, it's something that we take really serious. And it's foundational to our organization. And one of the very first programs that we launched in this area was our mentorship program. And so I'm going to take you a little bit back in time, but back in 2018, our organization was focusing more on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And in 2019, we hosted a staff wide meeting on gender equity, where this topic actually was a byproduct of that. So, staff in that meeting decided they wanted to see a mentorship program to help them grow and develop. So, this program actually grew out of that dialogue and was really organic and staff driven. So, it was a direct response to the ideas and needs that surfaced. So, our goal from the start of this program is to create opportunities to help our staff grow and evolve and to develop their skills and their confidence and prepare them to be the future leaders of our organization. So, that's really how it started.
I love that. And Kara, thank you for that. Your organization, it feels different. And I just want to reflect back because definitely I can feel it at the City of Elk Grove that you invest in training and development. Because when I show up to teach mentoring and the other classes that we do together, people are so present and open and learning oriented. So I feel like that's making such a huge difference. And Kara, can you tell everyone about your role? And then I'm going to come to you, Femi, and ask you the same thing. But tell our listeners about your role in Elk Grove.
Yeah, as Claire mentioned, I'm Kara Reddig, Deputy City Manager. I oversee a couple divisions at the city, but I'm also the city's inclusion leader, which is where I was involved in the diversity, equity, and inclusion effort. So that's my role at the city.
Got it. Thank you. And Femi, welcome. How about you? Share your voice and tell us a little bit about you as we get started.
Oh, thanks, Claire. I work as a management analyst with the Elk Grove City Manager's Office. Kara is my direct boss. So I support her in coordinating the diversity and inclusion program and also with the mentorship program.
Yes, awesome. So, Femi, you and I get to work side by side in mentoring on a regular basis, which I love. So, tell me a little bit about your own personal experiences with this. Like, I know that you both take this to heart and that mentoring is very important to you personally. Tell me a little bit more. Femi, let's start with you there. What kind of mentoring relationships have you had and how have they shaped you in your career?
Thank you. I've been incredibly lucky to have someone in my life who has served as what I'll call an unofficial mentor. This individual, their life, their career, everything has been like an exemplary point for me. And they have unknowingly guided me through my career also. I regularly check in with them, both on life questions and work questions. And looking back right now, I think significant part of my drive at work and desire has always been to make them proud of me. And I'd like to say right now that this person doesn't know that they are my mentor. They've been my mentor for about 24 years now. And when this podcast comes out, I'll make sure they listen to it and then open up about it. Also, unofficially, Kara has been a mentor to me since I joined the city. She shows up as a mentor. She guides me. She doesn't know, but there's so much in her that I appreciate. And I look at all the positives in her also and try to, like, she's very calm, a very calm person. I am not. So when we are in a situation, I say to myself, okay, be like Kara. In my mind, be like Kara. Yeah.
Ah, that's great. That's so fascinating too that you say an unofficial because I think in that way, and you use the word guide many times, like we can be mentors to others without even knowing it. But you guys have taken that a step further and formalized those relationships because it's such an important relationship for the development of any person in their career. And I love too that you said that you go to them for personal questions and personal matters too, because we all know this life and work are very seamless. As much as we try to keep them separate, they end up being quite seamless. What about you, Kara? What about a mentor in your life?
Yeah, when I first started my career in local government, I was really lucky to have a mentor out of the gate. And he was my boss at the time. His name is Frank Oviedo. And right now, he's the assistant city manager for the city of Santa Clarita. But what I really appreciated most is he was really direct and intentional about it. So he would literally say things like, here's a mentorship moment, or here's a tip you'll want to remember. He was making a really conscious effort to pass down his knowledge. And I've always been really grateful for that. And so he was really like my first mentor in my profession.
That's so cool. I love that. And I love how mentors can really call you to become something. They could show you a path for the future that you may or may not be considering for yourself. They could show you what's possible. They see possibilities in you. I love that. I've had great mentors myself, people that were so instrumental in my development. Like in graduate school, I had couple of advisors who became friends and we consulted together. We did all this kind of great work together. And that set me on a trajectory for my entire life path. And I think often how gratifying it's going to be, Femi, like you said, when you reach out to this person who doesn't know that they have had this influence on you and to say, thank you. Wow, you make such a difference in my life. How gratifying is that? Kara, let me go on a little bit to ask you a little bit more about what makes a really good mentor. You mentioned some things in your own mentor, but in general terms, like for anyone listening and they're thinking, okay, I want to be a mentor or I want to establish a mentoring program or whatever, what is it that we're really looking for in a mentor?
Yeah. I do think that, and I'll mention this, I think great mentors have this incredible ability to see ourselves, to help us see ourselves differently, right? To see our potential in ways that we don't recognize yet. And so at the heart of it, I think a good mentor is someone who's committed to your growth. They bring their relevant experience, they're good communicators, and they know how to listen. I think being patient and trustworthy and really confidential are some key components to that mentor recipe. And I think a lot of it is about trust and respect and just a shared commitment to development. And they can be very powerful relationships that last a lifetime, like Femi's, right? Going on 20 plus years. Those are some of the key components that I see of a good mentor.
That's great. Those are qualities we should all aspire to have. And let's tease out a little bit of the differences here. Like, how is having a mentor, formal or possibly informal, but how's having a mentor different than just having a good manager or, I don't know, a coach, even, or something like that? Like, how is having that mentor a little bit different?
Yeah. I think a formal mentor is a little bit different from having a great teacher or a manager, even though there is some overlap, I think. So, a mentor relationship is more focused on you as a person, not just your performance in a class or a job. The guidance is really personal, it can be long term, and it's often centered around your growth beyond day to day, right? It's not just your tasks daily. I think with a mentor, the goals are usually co created, the relationship is often voluntary, and the power dynamic can be more balanced, right? I think a lot of times when you have a mentor and a mentee relationship, the mentor feels like they're getting just as much out of the relationship than the mentee. So it's not about authority, it's really about support in that area.
If I may jump in and also add that in a mentorship, accountability is very important. The mentor will offer guidance and support, but the mentee really is accountable for their own progress. So that makes a difference between the formal setting and a teacher, because I know teachers are responsible and they're accountable to whatever results their students bring. But in a mentorship, the mentee is more accountable for whatever comes out of that relationship.
Absolutely. It's all on the mentee. That is a very notable difference between that manager role, which sometimes your manager is a mentor, but they also have that added responsibility. So that's important. What about being a good mentee in this relationship? And I love how you said that earlier, Femi, where you said you want to make the person proud of you. I love that. But what are some other tips for being a good mentee?
Yeah, just like in any good relationships, it takes hard work. So a good mentee has to be able to put in time and effort in building that relationship. And also, trust is a bedrock of that relationship. So if you are having a mentor, you should be able to trust whoever it is mentoring you to lead you on the right path. And being open also, it's one thing to say, okay, and I have a mentor, but not really opening up so that they know exactly what you desire out of that mentorship. So being open is also very important. Like I said earlier, being proactive also, you are the mentee, you are the one that needs to be mentored. So you need to do the work. You need to make your mentor understand that you are available, you are ready to absorb as much as you can, and also be open for honest feedback, because the mentor will tell you the truth. It might hurt, but if the feedback will help you, then you should be open to that too.
Think being willing too to take risks and try some different things. When the mentor tells you try this or try that, obviously you're not going to maybe do absolutely everything, but trying new things. Did you have something else?
Yeah, also being like a sponge, like they are more experienced, tap into their experience and absorb as much as you can during that time frame.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the structure of your program because I think that's really important. And we'll come back to talking a little bit about benefits for mentors and mentees. But how did you structure the program at Elk Grove? If you could talk that through a little bit, like how often do people meet and what happens? Because a lot of people are wondering these things, right? Okay, I want to start a mentoring program. What do I do? Do I just encourage people to meet or do I force them to meet? Or so talk to me about that. How did you solve that problem?
Yeah, so in Elk Grove, we put a lot of thought and research into building the structure of our program. And I'll talk for a minute, but then I'll let Femi go into the specifics, the mechanisms. But first, before we started the program, we did a lot of research. We looked at other cities. What are they doing? We looked at their challenges and their success. And so I'll share a couple items that I like to call kind of our secret sauce of our program. So we learned before we structured it that the mentor mentee matching process is really important and that it should be organic. We don't make decisions to pair people behind closed doors. We bring 10 people of cross-departmental together and we review the applications and we talk about the different people, right, in a positive way and what will this person bring that person. So it's a really iterative process. Names move around, discussions happen, but by the end, the pairing feels really right. And there's something really meaningful about having a collaborative process behind pairing a mentor and a mentee. So that's important to us in our structure. And we anchored our program around the shared learning. And so we actually found your name, Claire, from another city who worked with you. And we thought it would be great to build in training sessions around personal and professional development. So, in between this mentor mentee sessions, we have training sessions that we do with you. And Femi can talk about those in more detail, but We have lunch together because we feel that breaking bread is so important and builds stronger and more authentic relationships. And a big component of our program is just bringing people from different departments together. So we do try to pair people across departments and to really bridge gaps that kind of naturally exist in our organizations. So a lot of our PD staff are getting to know our non PD staff and vice versa. And that has been really impactful for relationship building across the organization. So maybe Femi can share a little bit about our actual structure of the day to day.
Okay, thank you. The first thing we do once the pairing has taken place is to provide a guide for the mentor and the mentee. They come together, have a working agreement. I think that's the first thing, that the most important, sets the tone of how they want the relationship to go. They decide how frequently they want to meet, how they will. Is it through phone? Is it going to be in person? Emails, then how often they want to do that. And also, we encourage them to decide their expectations and things that they will be comfortable talking about. Because some people might not want to bring anything personal into the relationship, but some people really want total mentoring. So there has to be that agreement so that none of them is uncomfortable. After that, like Kara said, we meet every 2 months as a group. And during this session, we have self development trainings with professional development trainings too, with topics such as prioritization and goal planning and power of positive thinking and all that. So, after every training session that we have together, I follow up to the group with emails asking them if they need support in any way, and if there are areas that they do need support, we provide support. And also, the city provides self development books for the group. And yes, we are always there. Like, I always encourage them to know that we are just an email away if there is anything that they need support with. And we also provide different questions that could be helpful in their discussions or their conversations.
I love that part of your program because I think that one of the things that holds people back from establishing a mentoring program is they think to themselves, okay, so if I just put a mentor and a mentee together, if I create a structure where I'm pairing people, then what? Will they meet? Will they be successful? And do they even know what to talk about? And I feel like your program has addressed that so well with this perfect balance of a few things over the course of, 10 months or almost a year. So it's a few meetings. It's not a ton, it's 6 meetings. And the meetings address things that typically arise in work settings, helping both mentors and mentees develop themselves in their roles and then have specific things to talk about. And I feel like it just gives this sort of accelerator boost, a little rocket fuel for the relationship to get launched and take off. I love that. I feel like it's a really good mix. And then to send them off after each meeting that we have with, here's some more things you could talk about. There's no requirement. You don't have to submit your homework, but here's some more things. If you don't know what to discuss next, here's some ideas. So I think that's really powerful. Have you ever had a pairing that just doesn't gel? Like people who come back and they go, oh, this isn't working for me for some reason. I know you put a lot of thought into how to get people to work together. Any of that ever happened for you?
We've never had one that just didn't work, but I've had to have conversation with a mentee to coach them on how to reassess their expectations. Because at times, mentees might know, but they don't appreciate the fact that they need to put in more effort in getting more from the relationship with their mentor, getting them to reassess their expectation. And in that particular situation really works, because when you know that your mentor is not going to be the one running after you to feed you what you need, you have to be the one. You are the one that is hungry and want to tap into their experience. You have to be the one making sure that your mentor is there for you.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about a couple of the challenges that you considered or faced when you were launching this program, and who did you have to convince and how did that whole part of it go? Kara, do you want to speak to some of that?
Yeah, I think one of the best parts about our program is it was staff driven from the beginning. So it's not like we had to convince staff to participate. So I think if you can establish an organic, ground up desire for the program, that's really going to help. And our city leadership was in those conversations. So they knew staff wanted a mentorship program. So it was actually just really natural to be like, okay, now we're working on this mentorship program. Our biggest challenge was really the timing. We rolled out the program during COVID. So our first cohort, as you probably remember, Claire, was virtual. And we didn't want COVID to stop us, right? Because we know our staff want this. How long is this going to go on? We did our first program virtually and it was really successful. And I thought this was great. But we decided the next year, let's do it in person. And we were allowed to do it in person. And it was just magical doing these in person and coming together as a city organization where you have 30 plus people working and growing on their development in person. It was amazing. So while you could consider doing something virtual, I think an in-person option is great. And then we have that lunch connection where people are really getting to know each other. In all the sessions, we've gotten great feedback, but I would recommend an in-person option just for those personal connections.
Okay, I love that. Yeah. If in person is so great. It really is. It's really wonderful that people can sit together and share a meal and go outdoors and sit in the sunshine and talk about things that are related to work and not work, just share their pathways that way. So, let's talk a little bit more about the feedback that you are getting with the program. I know that every time we meet, you collect some data about how people are experiencing it. And what I've seen, of course, is that the program's growing. People keep showing up, and some people have gone from being mentees to mentors and come back year after year. And that is just in and of itself, I think that is wonderful feedback. But what else are you hearing from folks?
One thing that is recurring is increased confidence. Past mentees have spoken about increased confidence, building self assurance through the encouragement that they received from their mentor, and also, of course, personal growth. But I think that confidence is really important because, like you said earlier, we now have mentees who are now mentors, and it's because of what they've been able to get from being mentored that gives them that confidence to step out to mentor other people. And I think job satisfaction, if that's the word I'm going to use now, because mentees feel confident that the city has their back. They are more confident in themselves and they appreciate the fact that the city has given them that opportunity because they know that it's not everybody that has such an opportunity that we have in the city of Elk Grove. So that's another feedback that we do get from past mentees.
That's great. I love hearing that. I love it. So, what advice would you give others who are thinking about starting a program in their organization? Is there anything you'd say to folks who are thinking, "Wow, this sounds really powerful and I'd really like to have one of these. What steps should I follow?"
I'll say something and then Femi can chime in. I think I would find out if there's an interest at the staff level. So I would bring staff together and see, do you think there's enough people that are interested in doing the program? And if there are, I would suggest bringing those people in to help you shape the program. We did that. They did some staff research. We interviewed people. So it as organic as you can make it, I think is great. Kind of what I mentioned related to the pairing of people. You don't just have two people in a department pair people, right? Make it cross-departmental and be very thoughtful in that process because that's super important. I mean, what would you add?
Like you said, being organic, letting the program evolve is very important, and designing the program to fit their situation because the way we have it in Elk Grove might not fit into another's situation. So I think that is very important. And also, not just letting the mentor or mentee be on their own. That continuous support is very important. Providing the continuous support, that's very key to success. And I think also, just like we are doing in Elk Grove, I think one thing is that even when you have the program running, keep looking for ways to improve it, continuous improvement, so that it doesn't become boring or stale or, yeah.
Absolutely. You guys have as also provided to me some great information for a tip sheet, just for a few tips for people for launching a successful mentorship program. So we're going to have that available in the show notes so people can come and download that quick overview of how to be successful if you want to have a mentoring program. Just a couple more quick questions. If someone doesn't have access to a mentoring program, do you have any thoughts about how they might find a mentor or even ask someone to be their mentor? How might they go about that?
Yeah, I think it can be disappointing if you don't feel like there's a program at your organization, but that doesn't mean you can't find a valuable mentor. I think there's a lot of places that you can plug into to just ask somebody to be your mentor. People are so honored and flattered when they're asked to be a mentor. Um, I think you could also look in your other existing professional networks. If you're a part of an association, you could look for a mentorship opportunity there or a mentor there. You could look for somebody on LinkedIn. There's so many people out there that want to help other folks.
If I can jump in, I think one thing is that you could be like me, identify your goals and your needs and see someone who could support you, even if they don't know that they are supporting you. Because you need to first identify what you need, identify your goals, and then get someone to mentor you, even if not directly.
Yes, yes. I think that's great. Like,
Mhm.
really looking forward to figure out, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, but so much of what I think is happening for my listeners is they want to advance and grow. They want to be leaders. They want to take control of their careers and move forward decisively. And I think mentoring it, choosing a person to mentor you, or even informally, like you guys were talking about, like Femi, you were mentioning earlier, I think is a great way to just focus your attention on who you want to become and how you want to develop, and then set some goals around that and make it happen. Love that. You guys, thank you so much for sharing all of this with me. How can people find you? How can they reach out to you if they have additional questions about a program or your mentoring experience?
Yeah, we love to share here at the City of Elk Grove, and we love to be resources for anybody. You can find both myself and Femi on LinkedIn. Just send us a note, and we'd be more than happy to tell you more or be a resource for you.
I love that. Thank you. Anything from you, Femi? Anything more?
Through LinkedIn, we are there and we'll support you as much as we can.
Awesome. We'll put your LinkedIn handles down in the show notes as well so people could reach out that way. Any final thoughts that you want to share?
I would just say when we were starting our mentorship program, it seemed like a daunting task to start from scratch, but it was quite easy and it has paid dividends in our organization and for our people. So I think it's definitely worth the time and effort. And I feel like our program now really runs on autopilot. And so it doesn't take a lot of staff time. We do focus on it, and Femi helps a lot, but it's not a huge burden to keep it going. Getting it set up can take a little time, but you will not regret it. So I encourage you to set one up.
Nice. Love it. All right. Thank you. Thank you both so much. And I really look forward to seeing you very soon in our mentoring class.
Yeah. Thank you, Claire.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. That was a very refreshing conversation about the mentoring program at the City of Elk Grove. So I hope you got some interesting insights and that you are inspired to find a mentor or become a mentor to someone else. And even if you're having those informal mentoring relationships or conversations with people, letting those folks know what their influence and attention has meant to you. How rewarding is that? I think that would be so lovely. Also, if you're thinking about starting a mentoring program, please don't hesitate to reach out and take a look at the tip sheet that Kara and Femi so graciously provided. We've created a little tip sheet about launching a successful mentorship program. Take a look in the show notes there to download that tip sheet. Also, of course, look in the show notes for the LinkedIn links for both Femi and Kara. So thanks again for listening. Now go lead the way. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. To learn more about my services and for lots of free resources and additional tools to enrich your journey, visit my website and subscribe to my newsletter at clairelaughlin.com. If you have a question about leadership, teams, or organizational culture you'd like me to address on the podcast, please reach out to me at support@clairelaughlin.com and connect with me on social channels at Claire Laughlin Consulting. Until next time, lead the way.